Hello everyone, I'm Vincent White and I'm an employment attorney, and today we're talking about Assembly Bill 5 out of California. I should lead off with saying that I am not a California-based attorney. I am not admitted to practice in California, and I do not handle the state and local laws of California or touch them in any way. So please take my opinion and my statements about this law to be those of a layperson only. I am not qualified as an attorney in California. Now, all right, so you've probably heard of this law. You may have heard of it as the death of the gig economy. And when you think of gigs, you probably think of musicians playing gigs. And that's about right. That's the gig economy. That's an independent contractor showing up, doing their thing, getting paid, going home, saying yes if they want an assignment, saying no if they don't, having flexible hours, they're self-employed. That's the nature of the gig economy. And Assembly Bill 5 in California basically says, "Ooh, we got to kill that. Can't let people do that. That's too much like freedom." I'm kidding. I'm being facetious, obviously. But it is going to have a lot of impacts on gig workers, like, truck drivers and musicians, frankly, right? Let's talk about the law first. So the law has been voted on, and it's in kind of a confused state because nobody knows how it's going to be applied. They're still negotiating special deals and all kinds of compromises for all the companies that the governor and the politicians want to cut special deals for, I guess. But essentially, the tall and short of it is that they're changing the rule, or I should say the test, that determines who is an employee and who is an independent contractor. So now that test, and I'm going to look at it because I want to get it right for you. So if you want to be an independent contractor, to fill that role, to stay an independent contractor, you have to not be under the control or direction of the company you work for, the company you're contracting for, and you have to perform work that is outside the usual course of the company's business. Now that's going to be tough, right? Because let's say I run a music venue. My business is to have a venue, have musical acts in, book musical acts, and entertain people. I may also serve food and drink. Who knows? I mean, it's a business. But you could argue that the regular course of the business is to put on musical acts. And that then the musicians, the singers, the drummers, everybody, the trombonists, all of them, why trombone? I don't know. All of them could now be considered employees, W-2 employees who have to pay into Social Security and all these other things, right? That's going to be weird. It's going to be weird for truckers. A lot of truckers are self-employed. They own their own truck. They make a lot more money that way. All of a sudden, all these trucking companies are saying, "Listen, I don't think you understand what you're doing to our industry because these truckers like it this way. This is going to be a big problem for us." But at the heart of it, what they're trying to get at with Assembly Bill 5 is they're trying to target companies like DoorDash and Lyft and Uber. I don't necessarily know why you would target Uber. Uber just posted billions of dollars of loss and had a layoff of 435 people on the heels of a pretty weak IPO. So they're not doing well. And they already lost this fight in the UK, so they're in for a nightmare scenario, even though their attorney says apparently that he thinks they can pass the test. As of Jan 1, 2020, they think their workers are still going to be properly classified as independent contractors. I don't know, because it seems like their primary course of business is to drive people around. It seems like their drivers are driving people around, so I'm skeptical that he thinks he can pass that test. But maybe he's a greater legal mind than I am, and he knows things I don't know. Now, Governor Newsom in California is negotiating with companies to either reach a compromise or to cut special deals to exempt certain companies from this law. It's being reported. That sounds deeply concerning because essentially you're giving special governmental preference to some companies over others. That doesn't make too much sense to me. Almost like the government's tampering in the workplace and favoring its friends who donate to the correct campaigns? Can't be. Wouldn't be. Impossible. How could anybody do that? I mean, this is the United States after all. So that's what's going on. What else should I tell you? Let me check my notes here. I mean, so part of the advantage, part of the reason why people want these independent contractors to be employees is that employees tend to get additional benefits and protections, right? And that's amazing. And I think any employment attorney is going to say, we all want every employee, every independent contractor to have all the protections possible, right? That would be very important. Now, what New York City did was just say, hey, all those discrimination laws, all the human rights laws, they apply to independent contractors. That's a good start. You could not redesign the entirety of the U.S. tax code as it deals with independent contractor versus employee. Instead, you could just say, hey, we apply these protections to independent contractors as well. Everybody's covered. Everybody's safe from discrimination. Huge fan of it, New York City. Way to get it right. But they want more than just, the protections against discrimination in California. They're looking to get, benefits, health care, overtime. Overtime's a huge thing, So I can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to help employees, I think. I think that's what they're trying to do. But they're definitely doing it in a way that, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they're going to help people. Maybe they're going to drive companies out of business. Most likely it's going to be somewhere in the middle where they're going to help some people and harm some people. And we'll have to wait and see, where it all lands. But, California's famous for trying things. They're bold. They make big moves. And a lot of those things push the United States to a better, more employee protective nation. And I'm a huge fan of that. So, California, I thank you for being America's lab and trying wild things to protect employees. And we are going to be keeping our eye on Assembly Bill 5 and how it plays out. And we'll let you know if the gig economy is dead or not. Plenty of time for you to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life. All right, everybody. Take care.